So up next, I'm going to have a conversation with Laurence Lascary, who is one of the co-chairs of Collective 50/50 in France. Laurence, are you there? She started a production company, DACP. My American accent, I cannot say the name of the company properly. It's going to sound awful. So it's DACP, to take the heat out of debates about the working class areas and remove inhibitions of their residents to show them it's possible to succeed. In 2011, she launched the Young Independent Producers Day. I think that's the English definition, an innovative marketplace dedicated to the new actors of the audiovisual industry. She's a next generation rabble rouser over there. In 2018, Laurence received the title of Chevalier in the National Order of Merit for her contribution to the French film industry. And she is now engaged in the Collective 50/50, and she is the co-chair. And we will tell you, hi Laurence, nice to see you, about the Collective 50/50. I want to just tell people my first experience working with the Collective was preparing for the 2017 March up the steps at the Cannes Film Festival. Cannes, for those of you who go or don't know, has been like really just horrifically awful about female representation. And my French colleagues and friends and fellow rabble rousers decided to do something about it. And that moment is going to be a moment of significant history as to when people started to pay much more attention to the lack of opportunities for women at these like top tier film festivals. And so I thank you all for your work, and welcome, Laurence. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Melissa.
So let's talk a little bit about what you think that the Collective, was able to accomplish. France has notoriously been a country that has not been receptive to these conversations and these movements. And when Me Too happened, even some of the leading French actresses were like, oh, no, it's not real. So how were you able to get some of that momentum going on the Collective?
The Collective is a do think. So I would say that the way we did to activate change and to eliminate inequalities was to have, with having a pragmatic approach by collecting data and then asking for change. And it was very efficient because no one can contest, no one can deny data, and when you have the figures, it's more easy to demand a change. And also, I think the power that resides within the Collective is the number of people involved, and also our ability to represent a very wide range of the industry, from the ground to the very the toppest level. For instance, we discussed with the French Ministry of Culture, we discussed with the French Film Office. We have very well-known filmmakers that are part of the founders of the Collective, and they were able to provide their fame, their power, in order to claim for change. But when I think of Céline Sciamma or Rebecca Zlotowski, they didn't need the change for themselves, because they're very high paid, and they're able to make films every year, and they're in a place of power, and they use that power in order to help to empower the filmmakers or the professionals that were in need, and that didn't have the same voices. And
right.
so
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep going. Sorry.
How we did is in 2018 when we did when we climbed the steps of the festival, it was part of the strategy. So there was the um, communication part of it, which was this beautiful picture of 82 women on the stairs with all the women of the jury, Kate Blanchett, Eva DuVernay, and so forth, and also our great Agnès Varda, and who gave a very powerful speech. And at the same time, we worked with the organizer from the festival, all sections, the main competition, week of the critics, and all the four main sections. We worked with them on a festival pledge. So they in the pledge, basically, they said that they are going to monitor and to collect data on the amount of women that send their film to the festival, and the amount of films directed by women that are picked to be part of their selections. And also they commit themselves to have as many women and men within the committee, the selection committee. So parity within the selection committee, parity within their board, and also collection of data. So it's very, it's not a cosmetic pledge. It's very, it's a huge, it's a strong commitment.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about their commitment. I know we didn't have a festival this year, and I worked with, Delphine on the pledge, and we were trying to collect data. And one of the issues that we have about collecting data, particularly in Europe, is that people don't track race. Like, so, and I know that's, a bugaboo issue that we bring up, which is like, here in the US, like we are just like, we can ask that question, gender and race. And for my colleagues in Europe, that was something we had to actually, have two different pledges. And so as we move towards being a more intersectional movement, that's something that has to be dealt with. But I know that there are kind of larger issues in the countries about asking hard questions like that. So I really want you to talk a little bit about how we're able to get better data.
We don't collect data in France, but I can tell that I'm the only Black woman in the room most of the time, and most of for the past decade during my professional journey. Now I'm used to be the only Black woman in the room. That being said, it's true that this is our biggest challenge. The collective has wanted to be intersectional from its very beginning. That was very important to the movement. But still, after having worked on that matter for the past 2 years almost, my conclusion is that the change won't come from the political power, because the French system is stuck. We are not really able to tackle racial inequalities without data. It's very difficult to have a conversation about race in France, and in most of European countries actually. And what we've done, because we've tried to, you have to picture that it's a big deal brainstorming on how we are going to avoid those barriers. And most of the work that you put on is to figure out how you will be able to find solution, because this is what we do in the collective, and to avoid the fact that the Constitution, the law, provide you to collect data. You can, some researchers have done surveys and work, but it's very tortuous. So, and we, in the collective, we try to find the most efficient way to get short-term results. So what we did so far is that we've worked on a pledge, another one, to federate the profession from all our unions, producers, actors, screenwriters, casting agents, all the widest, the most cross-section representation of the industry. So they signed this pledge, and basically it's about changing their practices, how they for instance, how do you what the words you use when you are when you're casting director and you are looking for a talent, the way you're going to show that you are open to any race and any profiles for that world. So you need to advertise them, because otherwise, if you don't, the actors will assume that it's for white. If it's not, if you don't write, if you don't say that we are looking for Black or for Asian or for diverse, it's open. If you don't say it, they won't come to your casting. So this is an example, and inclusion is also behind the camera. And what we have proposed to the producers is to work with nonprofits that are able to scout for young people from disadvantaged communities, because in France it's very mixed. When you talk about race, you also talked about social inequalities, and this is allowed. So this is how we do. It's not the equivalent, but this is one of the solutions that we have in France. And also, we published a directory to put the light on the talents and the professional technicians.
Like a database.
Yes, a database.
Okay, we'll get the link to that. I'm going to have to wrap it up, but in just a quick moment, what would be the one thing that you wanted to share with people who are trying to do the work that you did and with the collective and that you're working on? What would you like impart to other people who are on this journey?
What I would say is that you have to be versatile. You have to be able to talk to the government. You have to be able to talk to the institutions, but at the same time, you have to implicate the private sector, studios, because the change has to come from everyone, and you have to cultivate the change of culture. You have to fight the toxic environment and to make your ideas mainstream. And even if it's not going as fast as the US in France, but at the same time, have noticed the improvement in terms of parity. So now we need change for the other section of discrimination.
I don't feel it's going very fast here, but it's good for you to say that. I just wanted to let people know that Dame Heather from Time's Up UK was supposed to join us and she was unable to it. So I thank you for leading this conversation. And Laurence, I know it wasn't supposed to be that way, but it was a wonderful conversation. And I thank you and all your colleagues at the collective for being on the forefront of this and leading us all into the future.
And thank you so much, Melissa, for all your help from the very beginning.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you.
You too.
Okay, so up next, are we ready to rock to the next conversation? I believe we are.